What is up, guys, and welcome back to another installment of the Discord bot tutorial series. So like in the past few videos, I've been teaching you all about the basics of a DSharp Plus and how to get set up with a basic Discord bot. So at this point, you should be very comfortable with making some basic commands, like making some really good interactive commands by using DSharpPlus.interactivity, making some good use out of the event handlers that are provided by both the commands and the client. You guys should be very comfortable with just the basics right now. So in this video, I'm going to be taking it one step further, and I'm going to teach you guys how to make slash commands. So if you guys don't know what slash commands are, just simply go to Discord and just type in a slash. And there we go. Here's some examples. So in every server, Discord always has some built-in slash commands like banning, sending an animated GIF, and there's all sorts of basic stuff here. But the benefit of having a Discord bot is we can actually make our own slash commands and pretty much allow people in our server to execute them. So for example, in my server, I have a few slash commands here from all the bots that are in the server. So have a look at this, and then if I just type in slash, there's literally all these bots here, and I can pick a bot to view its list of slash commands, right? So that's what slash commands are. Let's get started on making slash commands in the Discord bot. Alright, so just before we get started with even any ounce of coding, we first need to install the slash commands packages, right? So let me just close all of this because right now we don't need any of this. So let me right click on my project and let's go back to the NuGet package manager that we used to install DSharp Plus. And what we want to do is install the slash commands package of DSharp Plus. So let's search up a DSharp Plus once again, and then we want the DSharpPlus.SlashCommands package installed in our project. So for me, it's already installed, but make sure you just get the latest version and just press install. And let's say client, and then let's say use slash commands. That's all we need to say. So to allow the bot to use slash commands, it's actually much easier than setting up the configuration for normal prefix-based commands, because all we need to do is just tell the client to allow use of slash commands. And now we can go down here and start registering our slash commands. So let's go ahead and create our first slash command class, and I'm going to show you in this video the basics of making a slash command and the things they can do with them. So let's get started on making our first slash command in this bot. Let me create a folder for our slash commands, right? So let me go to add and then new folder, and then we'll just name it slash. That's it. So this will be the folder for our slash commands. And then obviously let's make a new class, and then we'll just name it basics once again. So I'll just make it name it basic SL, right? So basic and then SL for, basic slash commands, right? So that you guys can easily tell which class is for what. So let's make this public once again, and let's get started. So if you see in our prefix-based command, we actually inherit the base command module class, and that's what allows us to write, normal prefix-based command in the first place. But for slash commands, we have to inherit a different class, and that is called the application command module. So this is the command, this is the class that we need to inherit, and this is what allows us to write slash commands in the first place. So as you can see, this class, it represents a base class for slash command. We need to inherit this class to be able to write slash commands. So let's get rid of the usings, and let's get started on writing our first slash command. So just like in our normal prefix based commands, I've always told you this, and I've been repeating it so that you guys can understand it more. So in our normal prefix-based command, we declare the command by using the command attribute, and then we write a method for it, and that method must be async, and it must also have the command context so that it can be executed, right? So in slash commands, it's a similar idea. So let me teach you guys how to make a slash command. So first of all, we declare the command by using the slash commands attribute. So let's say in box brackets slash command. So as you can see, marks this method as a slash command. Okay, so when we open our brackets, these are the parameters that it's asking us to fill in. So it needs a name, and then it needs a description. And if you think about it, when we go back to our Discord, when we press slash, we actually need this. So, every slash command must have a name, and it must have a description. So they can't be empty, right? So it makes sense here. So let's make our first slash command. So I'm just going to name this test, and then in our description, I'm just going to say this is my first slash command. Cool, so we've declared our first slash command by using the slash command attribute. Now the next thing to do is make the method for it. So we say public, and then async, async task, and then like I'll just name this my first slash command. We've made the method for it. Now in our normal prefix command, we have a command context in here. But if you think about what a slash command is, the technical term for an execution of a slash command is called an interaction. So when we execute a slash command, it's actually called an interaction that is being executed. So instead of a command context, we need the interaction context. And then we'll name it CTX. Okay, cool. So now I'll show you what can go wrong with a slash command when we execute it. So let me just copy over this, so like this test command. So I'm just going to say await ctx.channel.sendMessageAsync and then hello world. So let me just copy that over. So this all seems standard to you lot, but you'll see where things can go wrong. Okay, so we have made our first slash command, so that's cool. Now let's register it into our bot. So this is no different than registering normal commands. All we need to do is say slash commands config register command, and then into the basics, let's say basic SL. So registering slash commands is no different to registering normal like prefix commands. All we need to do is do it from the slash commands config, which we've got up here. So okay, let's start up the bot and I'll show you what can go wrong here. Let's start up our bot. So like everything's all saved. Yep. So let's start it up and let's see if our newly created slash command comes up. Okay. So okay, yeah. So I made a new bot, so I need to re-enable the intents. So like let's go back to our Discord and let's type in a slash. And there we go. Like here's our slash test command. So this is my first slash command. It clearly it's clearly all correct, right? So let's execute this and see what happens. And I'll show you why this can actually go wrong, because it seems normal, right? I'm just sending a basic message called hello world to this channel, right? So it seems normal, but let's see. I'm going to press enter, and as you can see, it said hello world, but as you can see, yeah, it went wrong there. It said the application did not respond. And this goes back to my point of slash commands being an interaction, right? Like, there's a reason we put interaction context here, because a slash command is an interaction, right? So the way to fix this is by sending a response to this interaction. So let's say await, and then CTX, and then we say interaction, and then we say CreateResponseAsync. So what this method does, it creates a response to this interaction. And let's see what it needs. So first of all, it needs an interaction response type. So this can be like anything you want. So there's multiple ways they can send this interaction. So first of all is channel message with source. So that basically sends it back to the channel. There's literally update message. So that basically edits the message. So like that's pretty cool. But I'm just going to do channel message with source. And then the next thing it needs is a Discord interaction response builder, and that's actually pretty similar to a Discord message builder. So let's make a new Discord interaction builder, and then let me get rid of all this, and then let's put it in the new, like in the usings, because it makes life a lot easier. So let me just import like DSharpPlus in the usings, and then we'll import like DSharpPlus.entities in the usings, and then there we go. And then let's just say with content, and then let's say hello world. Okay. So like this might seem a bit confusing to you lot, but this is one way of doing it. So basically we are creating a response to an interaction that has been executed. So let's rerun this, and let's re-execute that test command. So let's execute test and let's see what happens. So there we go. It's pretty executed with no errors. But this way of sending a message can be quite inefficient, because like say if you want to execute a command and you don't want to include any of this stuff, so just like hello world, and like you want to send an embed or something else, right? So like a better way of sending a message in a slash command is to defer the response. So like not just create it like directly. So I'm going to use a method called DeferAsync. So let's say await, and then CTX DeferAsync. So what this method does is it creates a deferred response to this interaction, meaning that it's going to send a sort of temporary response, and then we can edit it later on to what we want, so that we don't have to send any unnecessary messages that we don't want. So, like, say for example, we want to send two messages. The first message that is sent in a slash command has to be an interaction response, and then the second message can be a normal message. So, like, to eliminate that, let's just send one response, and then we can edit it to what we want later on. So let's say await CTX defer async, and then we just leave that. And then what we can do is use a method called EditResponseAsync to send the message that we want. So let's say await, and then ctx.editResponseAsync. So this method edits the interaction response. And what this does is take in a Discord webhook builder, which is, once again, it is no different to a Discord message builder. So what we can do is say new, and then like webhook builder, and then we'll say with content, hello world. So this is a better way of sending a response to a slash command. So if we run this, then it should just work the same way. So let's see, so test, and then we'll execute it. Yeah, I mean, for a short second, like, you saw that message, the like YouTube test bot is thinking. So if I execute it again, like, you'll see it, YouTube test bot is thinking, and then it said hello world. So that's a much better way of making like responses to a slash command. Now, watch what happens when we try and do this twice. So if we say await, and then ctx, and then like interaction, and then CreateResponseAsync. Let's try and do this twice and see what happens. So let's do interaction response type. Let's see what happens when we try and do this twice, and like you'll see what I mean by this. So let's do it twice. Okay, cool. Let's do this twice and let's see what happens. So that's all cool. Let's execute test now. And as you can see, it only sends it once. It seems like the console's not showing anything either. So let's see what happens if we put a try catch in here. So let's see, like, try catch. So if we put our code in a try catch, then let's do catch exception ex, and then let's do console.writeLine ex to string, or just ex basically. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so let's execute the like test command again, and let's see what happens. So it sends hello world once again, and as you can see, we've got a bad like we've got an error 400 code here. So as you can see, we can't send more than one interaction response. So like that really says a lot, doesn't it? So the first message that can be sent must be a response. In the very first example, when we tried and did like the send message async, it failed, like, didn't it? Because there was no interaction. And as you can see, when we try and create two interactions, it won't work either. So this means that the first bit of content that we send out in a slash command must be a response. So that's why using defer async is much more better, because this method eliminates any unnecessary pieces of content that you don't want to send out. Say if I want to send an embed message, so let's do await like interaction create response async, because we know now that the first message has to be an interaction like response. And then let's make a Discord embed. So let's say var embed, so let's say embed message equals a new Discord embed builder, and like let's give it a color. So let's say, and then like let's say blue, and then let's say the like title is test embed. Okay, and then like after this, like let's do await ctx channel send message async with the embed as the embed message. So if we do this, it's going to work perfectly, right? So first of all, it's going to send out like this, you know. So first of all, it's going to send out hello world as our interaction response, and then it's going to send out this embed. So let's give that a try. So if we do test, there we go, hello world, and then test embed. But what if we only want the embed to send, right? And that's where this issue comes in, because we can't just do send message async because it's going to fail. So that's why we do defer async. So like that's the difference between defer async and then create response async. Hopefully I've got that point across in this video, because it's a really important concept that most beginners don't understand, right? So instead of doing create response async, let me just do await and then ctx.deferAsync. And then instead of saying, you know, like ctx.channel.sendMessageAsync, I can use the EditResponseAsync to pretty much edit the already sent response, because that's what DeferAsync does. It creates a temporary empty response that we can edit later on, right? So let's do EditResponseAsync, make a new Discord webhook builder, and then instead of saying with content, I can say add embed. So that's cool, right? I can add embeds to this response. So let's say so like embed message, and then that's it, honestly. So when we execute this now, hopefully it will only send the embed message. So if we do test now, then there we go, it only sends the embed. And that's pretty cool, right? So that's just the basics of slash commands, right? So I've taught you how to properly handle slash commands, right? So how to properly send the response. And I've shown you like the different ways in which you can send responses. So there's create response async, and there's also the better way, and like that's to defer the response and then use edit response async to add what you need later on. So that's pretty cool, right? So pause this video and have a go at this. Make sure you practice, right? Because like the best way to learn this is to practice it yourself. I can't stress this enough. Don't just go through these videos and not practice it, right? Make sure you pause the video and practice it yourself. So now let's have a mess about with slash command parameters. And for this, I'm going to show you some of the DSharpPlus documentation. Let me show you this. So then it shows you the available parameters that slash commands can support. So unlike normal prefix commands where we can have anything in them, right? So like I can have string, int, just like anything. In slash commands, it's very specific, right? It's very specific. So as you can see, so first of all, it says arguments must have the option attribute and can be of type, and then it shows us each C# data type that slash commands can support. So it supports string, long, bool, double. It also supports Discord users. So I can actually pass in Discord users into a slash command. So that's pretty interesting. The same thing goes for Discord channels, Discord roles, and then there's also Discord attachments. So I can actually upload files into slash commands. So like these are all the data types that slash commands can support currently by DSharpPlus. So make sure you read up on their documentation, because it's so important, right? A lot of I've seen a lot of people in my Discord server don't do this for some reason, and it's very important, right? Like, you know, it's very important to read like the documentation of a package so that you know how it works, right? So okay, so it says arguments must have the option attribute, and then it can have the type. So let me show you how to add slash command parameters. So let's make a new slash command. So I'm just going to name this. So like let's first of all make the slash command. So I'm going to use the slash command attribute, and then let's name this parameters. So let's say this slash command. Okay, and then let's make the method. So public async task, and then let's say parameters. And then once again, in every slash command, it must have the interaction context. Okay, cool. So back to our documentation. So it's saying arguments must have the option attribute. Okay. So in our in our slash command parameters, let's say option, and like since it's saying attribute, isn't it? Yeah. So it's saying option attribute, we have to put it in box brackets. Okay. So let's say option. So okay. So this option marks this parameter as an option for a slash command. Okay. So let's open some brackets and see what it needs. So it's saying the name of the option and then the description of the option. Okay, so it seems quite standard. Okay, so let me just name this, I don't know, like test option. And then the description can be type in anything. Okay, so we've made our option attribute. In like any C# method, there must be a data type and a variable assigned to it, as you know, right? like let's pass in our first, I don't know, string parameter. So this slash command allows the user to type in anything as a string in this parameter. So let's say string, and then I'll just say test. So let's say test parameter. And okay, so we've made our first slash command parameter. What I'll do in this example is maybe get the input from this test parameter and maybe send it in a nice embed message. So like that'll be cool, right? So what we can do is like let's use our DeferAsync. So let's say await ctx.DeferAsync. Okay, now let's make our embed message. So let's say var embed message equals a new Discord embed builder, and then let's give it a color. So let's say Discord color, and then like let's say I don't know, like brown. Okay, let's say the like title is test embed, and then let's put the output of this string test parameter in the description, so the user can type in anything into this parameter and it should just appear in this embed. So let's say the description as test parameter. Okay, that's cool. And then let's edit the response because we've deferred it right here. So let's say await ctx.EditResponseAsync, make a new Discord webhook builder, and then let's add the embed to it. So let's say embed message. No need for that. Okay, and then let's end it off. Okay, so nice. So what we've done here is we've declared our option parameter as test option, and the variable we've assigned to it is a string, and it's called test parameter. And in this code, what we're doing is we are getting the input of test parameter and then putting it into an embed message. So let's start it up. Okay, so there we go. There's our new slash command called parameters. So as you can see, this slash command has a parameter called test option. So as you can see, there's the difference. So there's our test command with no parameters, and here's our parameter slash command with the test option parameter. Our option attribute works. So we've named it test option, and then we set the description to type in anything. So now if we just type in, I don't know, hello, then it should appear in the embed. So if we press enter, then it's thinking, and there we go. Yeah, so like it said test embed and then hello, just as we've got here. So we've said test embed down here, there we go, and then like the description is the test parameter, and that's pretty much getting the input from this variable. So that's pretty cool. So like that's just an example of, you know, slash command parameters, and like slash commands can have multiple parameters. So what I can do is add on another parameter. So let's do that. So what we can do is add a comma to add another parameter to this method, right? So I can say option once again. So option, and then like let's give it a name. So let me say I don't know, like number option. So like let's make let's make an option that passes in numbers only and not a string. So let's say number option, and like let's give it a description of, I don't know, type in a number. And then if we go back to the documentation, it's saying that like long or double are the number variables that are supported. So notice how int is not mentioned here. So we have to use either long or double. So let's use long because that's much more better, right? So long, and then let's say number. Okay, cool. So there's our option and then long number. So let's put the number in here. So I'm going to make this a nice concatenated string, I guess. So let's do that. So let's put let's put the test parameter first, and then let's put the number after. So let's put number, and that should that should display both of the parameters that were passed in. So let's start up the bot now. There's our test option. And there's our number option, and as you can see, let me just put test, and then I'll just put in, I don't know, 100. So like in the embed, it should say test and then 100. So let's press enter, and yeah, there we go. It says test and then 100. So let's do one more example, and let's mess with some of these parameters. So like Discord user and then the Discord attachments, because that seems really interesting, because uploading files to a slash command is actually a feature that is used in a lot of Discord bots. So let's have a mess about with that. Okay, so once again, let's make a new slash command. So using what we've learned so far. So once again, repetition is key to growing as a programmer. I can't stress this enough. Make sure you pause the video and have a go at this yourself, right? So let's make another slash command. So let's use the slash command attribute, and this time let's name it I don't know. So let's name it Discord parameters. And let's make the method for it. So public async and then task. And then obviously, like in every slash command, it needs the interaction context. So interaction context CTX. Okay, so let's have a mess about with these, with these parameters. So Discord user, and there's also a note here. So it says this can be cast to Discord member if the command is run in a guild. So that's interesting. So I'll literally explain that when we do it, because this is important. This is a very important thing to understand, the difference in between a Discord user and a Discord member. And let's try Discord attachment as well. So let's say as an option parameter, so let's do a comma, option. So I'm going to name this user. So let's say pass in a Discord user. And then let's say, as the documentation says, Discord user. So let's say Discord user, and then I'll just name it user. Cool. So that's our Discord user parameter. And then let's have a go at doing the Discord attachment parameter as well. So once again, we say option, and then let's say file, and then let's say upload a file here. And then once again, we need to say the parameter name. So let's say Discord attachment. There you go. And then let's say file, I guess. Yeah. So that's cool. Okay. So let's see. Let's think. So let's send an embed message that says the name of the Discord user that was passed in, and I guess the name of the file that was uploaded. So that should be interesting. First of all, let's start by doing DeferAsync. So await ctx.DeferAsync. This must always be at the start of your command. So in our embed, let's get the name of the Discord user that was passed in, and then the name of the file that was uploaded. So let's try and do that. So let's say var embed message once again. Let's say this. So let's say new embed builder. And then in the color, let's say blue. Yep, screw it. Let's say title. Let's say test embed once again. And then in the description, let's say the name of the user that was passed in. So in a nice concatenated string, let's say user dot username. Let's see if that works, because in here it said this can be cast to a Discord member if the command is run in a guild. So that could be interesting to see. And then let's get the file name. So let's say file dots, and then let's say let's see, there's file name, so I guess that's the name of the file. Yeah, and there's also file size. That's pretty interesting. The file link. Yeah, okay. So let's just do the file name, and I guess let's do the file size as well. So let's do file and then file size. That should be interesting to see. Okay, and then let's send it off. So since we deferred the response, let's use EditResponseAsync. So await CTX and then EditResponseAsync. Cool. And then let's say Discord, new Discord webhook builder. Add the embed as the embed message. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, so what we're doing in this code is we have two parameters here. One is a Discord user, and then one is a Discord attachment. And what we're doing is getting the name of the user that was passed in, the name of the file that was passed in, and then also the file size of that file. Let's see what happens. So here's our Discord parameters. So let's see what that looks like. So when we click on it, wow, that is interesting. So we've got two menus here. So what we could do here is pick members in a Discord server, and then what we can do here is upload files. So that's pretty interesting. So let me try and pick myself. So let me see if I can type in my name. Yeah, there we go. I can pick my name. So let's do that. and then let's upload a file. So I guess let me just go to my file explorer, and I guess yeah, like let's just upload this like sound icon like .jpeg file. So let's upload that. So there we go, sound icon.jpg, and then we've got my name in there. Okay, let's press enter and see what happens. So I'm going to press enter, and it's thinking. Okay, and there we go. Okay, that's very cool. So yeah, there we go. It's first of all got my name, and then it's got sound icon.jpg, and then it's got the sound, and then it's got the size, which I assume is in bytes. So if we check the parameter, it should say file size. Yeah, so yeah, so there we go. Gets the file size in bytes. Okay, fair enough. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so let me show you what this means. So this can be cast to Discord member if this command is run in a guild. So let's say, for example, I'm going to change my server name to something else. So my server nickname, right? So let me just change it to Sam Test. So my global username is still this, but my server name is now Sam Test. So if we try and execute this command, watch what happens. So I'm going to start up the command again. So let's press up to get our slash command back. So as you can see, even though I type in my name, it's still getting Sam Test because that's my server username. But if you think about it, we've put in Discord user here, and a Discord user is actually the global representative of a Discord user. So it should just get my original username. So let's see what happens then. So let me upload the same file. And as you can see, it still gets my global username. And that's the difference. That's the difference right there. So a Discord user is the global representative of a Discord user. But a Discord member is a Discord user within a guild. It's saying I can't just change this to Discord member because that's not going to work. It's saying I have to cast this to a Discord member. So let's do that first. So let's say var member equals the user, but we are going to cast it into a Discord member. So so this should now be a Discord member, as you can see there. So now what we can do is say member.username. So if I type in member, and then I can say username. There you go, gets the member's username. Like, let's see if there's a like parameter for nickname. Like, there is a nickname right here, so I can do that instead. So I can do member.nickname, but first of all, let's do member.username and see what happens. Let's see if it's the same thing. So let's see. So let's start the bot, and then let's execute that command again. So Discord parameters, let's put in my name, and then let's attach that file. Let's press enter and see what happens. So okay, it's still getting my username. Now let's change it to member.nickname and see what happens. So member.nickname. And then like a useful feature I can do is called hot reloading. So rather than just restarting the whole bot, I can just do hot reload. And there we go. That should be cool. So if I restart, so like if I do the slash command again, so slash like Discord parameters, my name, and then the file. Let's see what happens here. So there we go. Now it's saying Sam Test and then the sound icon, blah, blah, blah. So that's the difference in between a Discord member and a Discord user. Let's see what happens if we try and get the nickname of the user. So I don't think there's going to be a nickname, like nickname property for a Discord user. Let's see. Nickname, yeah, there is no such thing. So like, yeah. So like if I try and do user.nickname, there is no such thing because a Discord user is the global representative. They're not in a guild, by the way. If you do Discord member, then you're basically saying, I want the details of this user within that specific guild that they're in. So that's why we cast it, and that's why the documentation says we have to cast it, right? So hopefully I've taught you a lot about slash command parameters. Now the last thing I want to teach you guys about slash commands is grouped slash commands. So let's once again go back to our documentation. So let's scroll down a bit more. So here's some examples of some parameters as I've showed you. And here we go. This is the groups section. So like this documentation is saying you can have slash commands in groups, and this structure is explained here. And you can simply mark your command class with the /command group attribute. Say if you have multiple /commands that have very similar functionality, what you can do is actually group them under one name, right? So for example, what's happening here is that they are making a /command group and then naming it a group, right? And then they're making a class for it, so public class, and it's inheriting the application command module. And then in that class, we are having our different /commands. So I want to show you guys what this looks like because it's quite interesting. I have this calculator example here. So I have this calculator command where I can like pass in two numbers and then an operation, right? And then it's going to do add, minus, times, or divide. We can make this into a good /command group, right? So I can have a /command group called calculator, and then I can have each of my /commands like add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So let's make a /command group based on this example in the documentation, and let's see how that works. Let me name this, I don't know, like calculator. So calculator SL. So calculator. So short for calculator /commands. So let's make it public. And cool, we are ready to go. So in this example, it's saying I need to add the /command group attribute above this class, and then add add my /commands underneath it. Okay, let's say in box brackets /command group. So there we go. Okay, so this is saying marks this class as a /commands group. Okay, so there's nothing interesting there. Okay, so that's all standard, and let's give it a name. So I'll name this calculator, I guess. So since this is all calculator based commands, so let's say calculator. So let's make a /command, and then let's name it add. So this is going to add two numbers together. Making a /command group, it's going to inherit the application command module, and then I'm going to make my different /commands in this group. So okay, let's say public async task, and then let's name it add. So I need my interaction context here. So interaction context CTX, and then we need to add two numbers together, right? So I need two option variables, and this time let's use double because I want to add some decimals too, right? So I want to provide the user to be able to add normal numbers and also decimal numbers as well, right? So let's say option. Let's name this number one. So this is, let's just say number one again, right? And this is going to be a double number one. And let's do the same thing for number two. So what I can do is just copy and paste this to make this a bit more easier, to deal with. So let's say number two, and then number two for our variable as well. And then in here, let's just add these two numbers and pretty much get the output, right? Let's say title is equal to, so in a nice concatenated string, I can say number one plus number two. Cool. And then in the description, I can say what that equals. So I can just say number one and then actually do the operation. So let's say plus number two over here. And this will add the numbers and then outputs it in a string. So now let's send the response off by editing the deferred response. So let's say await CTX and then edit response async, and then let's do new Discord webhook builder, add the embed as the output embed. Okay, we've done a lot here. So we've made our /command group called calculator, and we've got our add command in here. So let's see what that looks like, right? So let's make sure we add this command class to our /commands config. So let's say /commands config dot register commands, and then we say calculator SL. Okay, cool. So everything's all saved. Yep. Let's start the bot up and let's see what happens. All right. So take a look at that. So this is very interesting. So we've got a / command that says calculator, and then it says add. That's very interesting, isn't it? So we've got calculator and then add. So it's basically grouping our different commands together. So if I make another command, watch what happens. So what I can do is literally just copy and paste this. It's basically just copy and paste this whole command, but then rename it to subtract. So what I can do is pretty much copy and paste this command and then rename it to subtract. So I can say subtract. So let's say subtract two numbers, and let's rename this to subtract. So that's all cool. And then in here, I just need to change the symbols. So here I need to say minus instead of plus. So if I restart the bot now, so I've got two slash commands in there. So this should give you a very good idea of how grouped slash commands work. Then as you can see, this is very cool, isn't it? So I've got two slash calculator commands, but each of them are very different. So I've got calculator add, and then calculator subtract. So this is the benefit of grouped slash commands, because I can have different slash commands under one name. So if I do calculator add, and let's do 10 plus 10, so that should be 20. There we go. So it's saying 10 plus 10 equals 20. That's very cool. And then if we do calculator subtract, and then do 10 and 10, it should give me 0. So calculator subtract 10 minus 10 is equal to 0. This is very cool, isn't it? I've got my whole slash commands class under this group called calculator. So that means every slash command I create in this class will be grouped under this calculator name. So that's why I have this naming structure: calculator add, calculator subtract, and now I can just keep copying and pasting these commands and just changing it to multiply and divide. I can make a full-fledged calculator bot from this, and that's pretty cool. So that's grouped slash commands, and yeah, that's pretty much all the documentation is saying. So I can make subgroups as well, so that works in the same way. So subgroups. Yeah, man, this is very cool. So hopefully this video teaches you everything that you need to know about slash commands. So I've taught you how to make a basic slash command. So if we go to our basic SL, I've taught you how to make a slash command. If you have any questions, then don't forget to leave a comment below, or join my Discord server. The link is in the description, because there we'll be able to help you out to our fullest. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you lot in the next video. Peace out.